refraction index is 1.45. And I calculate the subsurface scattering using tangent allied Voronoi noise. I can calculate the ambient occlusion on all the cellulose edges using the dot product. The immersion will be perfect. Just 40 more hours of refactoring the rendering pipeline. It has to be better than Octopath. It has to be real! Maybe one of the Octopath devs left a comment on one of my videos.
Why the hell aren't you using Tile or Tile Setter to set up your level? You can even add
this
your
going to be on
collision layers
Steam?
in there.
I want to wish
I'm
list.
curious
Will
about
be on
the
Steam?
collision
What if you really just don't?
So working on it, or?
But, like, for real. This is a question that goes out to everyone who shares creative work on the internet, and to some extent offline too. Are you still working on it? Because at some point the question becomes, are you comfortable releasing what you have to an audience right now? Maybe not yet. Perhaps a few more iterations. At least a few more weeks in the oven before it's really done. If you're anything like me, the answer is definitely not yet. There's still 1,000 things to do and 1,000,000 to improve. After all of that, maybe I'll feel comfortable to show what I have to the world. But how long will that take? How do you even quantify that? Are your goals in the short term still aligned with the long term? I can't speak for everyone in creative fields, but I do work with a lot of people who produce creative work. Of course, for Blightwatcher, I work with an artist directly, but my friends in other creative fields also share this sentiment. Hell, my best friend, the occasional co-author for Blightwatcher, probably feels this just as strongly as I do.
I mean, yeah, kinda, I guess.
A lot of people who do creative work feel like every piece they work on is another chance to prove themselves, to show off their technical prowess, their incredible artistry, or their stellar world-building vision. Most importantly, you need to do it all yourself, right? If you get any help from anyone else, how will your product prove to anyone that you possess these skills? If we're not pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into every detail, are we even real artists? Ironically though, the people who spend the most time working on their creative vision, developers with the most optimized engines and the cleanest architecture, aren't the ones actually shipping their games. They may have built some impressive systems, but not without reinventing the wheel over and over and putting that wheel on a cart that will never see the light of day. Meanwhile, the so-called bad developers are actually out there shipping games. The ones using cheap, mismatched asset packs, the ones using completely unknown code snippets copy-pasted from Stack Overflow, or even using completely AI-generated gibberish. It's easy to judge their quality of work, but unlike the artists mentioned before, they actually released something. Now, as an audience member, as someone interested in playing indie games, watching amateur movies, or listening to up-and-coming artists' works, which one is more valuable to you? Something you can look at from a distance and try to imagine experiencing, or something you could actually personally experience right now? Alright, but you might be sitting there thinking, well, duh, like, obviously the audience doesn't care nearly as much about how something was made, and these perfectionist artists also aren't stupid, they realize this too. But there is a subtle difference in their end goals. Both the artist and their audience are interested in seeing the product being released. For the audience, the primary goal is having something out there that they can experience. Whereas for the artist, the thing that's out there for everyone to see is their business card, their resume. How much time is enough to spend on their resume? When is it too much time? Now, this is obviously not some kind of groundbreaking discovery. Scope creep is one of the biggest issues plaguing indie game development, and people mention it everywhere. But scope creep is a very blatant example of this. It's easy enough to see how many chapters your game design document has and how many descriptions of locations, quests, items, or NPCs you have written. It's much harder to gauge how your own expectations creep up on you. Let's say you plan to just have infinite terrain generation for your game. You start with some basic Perlin noise to generate simple terrain shapes, and then you add some layered noise to vary the terrain a bit. While you're at it, you might as well use that layered noise to introduce some biomes too. I mean, you already have the whole tile set after all. After that, you notice the water looks a little bit dull, so let's work on the shaders for a bit. But you can't just use an off-the-shelf water shader from the asset store. Hundreds of games use that asset. My game needs to be unique. I need to make something bespoke. And then you notice the terrain could use some more variants, so you add displacement and normal maps, then you want to improve the lighting to play nicely with your changes to the render pipeline, then you might as well... You see where this is going? All of this is just busy work. None of this actually adds to the core game loop. None of this has any mechanical impact either. Most importantly, none of this brings you closer to your end goal, releasing the damn game. Trust me, I'm speaking from deep personal experience here. It's so easy to get caught up on minute details that won't help you to ship a game. And at the end of the day, who cares that you wrote a hyper-optimized Vulkan rendering pipeline by hand if your game still can't be played? The comments under Blightwatcher devlogs have been screaming this at me for a while, but I've been a stubborn little who's so desperate to prove himself that I haven't actually meaningfully worked on anything for like 6 months after the last devlog. To really drive this point home for my personal experience, let me take you through the last 11 months. The last devlog had a bit of a sour note, and you'd be excused for thinking I completely burned out on working on Blightwatcher after watching it. Truth be told, I did take a short hiatus from working on Blightwatcher shortly after publishing that video, but I'm getting ahead of myself. After the devlog in January, I showed you guys what I'd been working on, which is adding a third dimension to Blightwatcher. The game previously ran completely on a 2D plane, using some common tricks from older games to fake a limited sense of depth. Of course, I found soon that changing my custom engine to 3D required a lot more refactoring than I bargained for. And on top of that, the whole process was an exponential learning curve. I still had good hope that I would finish working on the demo for Blightwatcher within my own engine, with my own tools, and with as little outside help as possible. Fast forward to February, March, and April, I went on a lovely trip to Sweden with my friends and to Italy with my girlfriend, but did I ever spend even a short 20 minutes to reflect on my development progress? No, of course not, silly. The only thing I had to worry about is, how impressive is my custom 2.5D renderer to potential employers in the future? Yeah, keep focusing on that, buddy. Getting into May, my girlfriend and I were lucky enough to find a new place to live, which means moving time. During all those weeks of moving, I could be excused from working on Blightwatcher, right? Maybe I can tweak a few enemy behaviors here, polish up some terrain tiles there, everything that makes me feel busy but doesn't actually move the needle. Come June and July, you get the point by now. Oh, Blightwatcher wouldn't be an impressive feat of engineering if I don't optimize the collision meshing further. Throughout autumn, I spent a lot of time thinking about what Blightwatcher should be. Coming up with all the difficult to answer questions like, why would someone want to play my game? And breaking it down to make it easier to answer. The granularity eventually trickled back down to individual subjects like the design and the behavior of specific enemies, key story moments, the art direction, and, of course, the games that inspired me to work on Blightwatcher in the first place. Now, I can go into the nitty-gritty of what makes these games tick, define a formulaic set of parameters to test and judge gameplay against, to test my story beats against, to judge the art style against. Why was I excited about Blightwatcher? What ground did I cover? What did I miss? Wait. The art direction! That was my missing piece. Surely not the fact that I'm still hopelessly clinging to my own engine and tooling. Surely not the fact that I'm reinventing not only the wheel, but also my tools for creating wheels along the way over and over again. Surely it had to be the art direction. Alright, fuck it. I like Octopath Traveler. They do HD 2D. Besides their clear use of fully 3D environments and a perspective camera, what makes that game look so much better? The most obvious part? The lighting. Alright, great. Let's get fancy real-time lighting working in my custom engine that definitely was never designed for that kind of thing. On second thought, why not have a look at what some other developers are doing to solve these issues before diving headfirst into whatever this is? After being inspired by game dev YouTubers like Blargus, congrats on the incredibly successful release by the way, Blood Thief is an absolute gem, I decided to give Godot a try. It took me a few days of thoroughly experimenting and prototyping, also known as f***ing around and finding out, to really get a feel for the way the engine works. The paradigm shift from my previous experience with Unity and Game Maker to everything is a node, everything is a scene in Godot was a bit jarring at first, but playing around with it for a while, it started to feel pretty natural. I spent some time looking through resources like the Godot documentation, which is fantastic, and reading through forum thread after forum thread on custom add-ons and parsers in Godot. Eventually, I managed to cobble together a little add-on that I can use to import TMX and TSX files from Tiled. Oh yeah, I switched to Tiled for my level design, by the way. Thanks for the suggestion, Liquid Pixel. That I can use to import TMX and TSX files from Tiled and load directly into my game as TSCN files. A bit more work on cobbling together a quick player script after watching some more Brackeys tutorials, making the camera follow the player, and setting up basic chunk loading and unloading based on my add-on. I got a very basic build running that really started to resemble Blightwatcher. Best thing is, it's actually secretly 3D, so I get real-time 3D lighting essentially for free. I wonder if Godot has any other cool built-in art tools to really sell the HD 2D direction. So, still working on it? Yeah. And I want to show you something. And even better, you can try it out right now. That is a very early preview demo of just the very first stage of Blightwatcher. But you can try it out right now! So yeah, I'm a real Godot fanboy now. The old code I wrote for my own custom 2.5D engine is still archived on my personal GitHub account, as well as being backed up on remote network storage. I can still point to that code and say, hey, remember when I made a custom OpenGL renderer in Java from just Lobajuggle and some tape and spit? But I can also work on Blightwatcher in a modern, fully featured, open source game engine that has already proven itself in countless other examples, that I can extend with my own custom tooling to my heart's content, and due to its licensing nature, as of writing the script, probably won't pull any Unity moves in the future. So, with all of that out of the way, I want to thank you all massively for the support over the last years of working on Blightwatcher. Not only the kind words about my amateur videos, but also the incredible feedback and the excitement you've all shown for Blightwatcher. I'm feeling more motivated than ever to continue working on the game and make it the best experience I possibly can. Now, please go and play the very tiny first pre-alpha demo of Blightwatcher through the link in the description. If you like the video and you want to stay up to date with more devlogs in 2026, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Next on the roadmap is finishing up the first 10 quests to release as a standalone demo, and getting the last few art pieces and a nice trailer for the Steam page. As soon as that's live, I'll make sure you hear about it. But until then, Phaii and I will keep working on making Blightwatcher an even greater experience for you to play and hopefully share with your friends. If you do enjoy the pre-demo now, or the upcoming demo in the near future, please do share this video with anyone else who might be interested in Blightwatcher. Development is about to really ramp up, and I can't wait to see the demo fully polished up and shining on itch.io and the Steam store. I really hope to see you around for that too, but until then, cheers.